Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Miss TV Total Football. Lots of matches in the Champions League. Champions League is well and truly back. Fantastic to have this competition back. I can't wait for Chelsea to feature tomorrow against Bayern Munich. I think that's going to be a fantastic spectacle. But today's games, there's been some really nice games. I've watched the Arsenal one and then I watched the Spurs one. I wish I never watched the Spurs one. I wish I watched Dortmund one. I think Dortmund versus Juventus game was an absolute pop off. It popped off big time. Yildiz apparently played really well. But I'm going to talk initially about Arsenal and then we'll have a look at some of the other fixtures that took place as well. Really surprise package from Karabaj as well, beating Benfica after being 2-0 down. And this is what the Champions League nights does, man. That these Champions League moments, they can create some fantastic stories, and already it's starting to do so. But Arsenal versus Athletic Bilbao, Athletic Club. No Nico Williams, I believe he's injured. It started off quite, quite cagey, I suppose. Both teams not really looking to exploit each other too much. It seemed like both teams are just checking each other out. It is, look, the way Arsenal in recent times have been approaching games, it is somewhat boring. They don't go gung-ho. They don't go mental and just try and sort of throw the kitchen sink at the opposition, which then leaves them a little bit exposed in the back, which then will allow the opposition to take over. And we've seen that. We've seen that previously under Mikel Arteta, that teams like, especially in Europe, when they were in Europa League, teams like Sporting, teams like Villarreal have beaten them in the Europa League. And we've seen it in the Premier League as well, in their pursuit of trying to get the Premier League title. They've stuffed up at the end where they were a little bit too open and they've been beaten by teams like Southampton and so on and so forth, right? But now this approach from Arsenal, it seems like it's more measured. It seems like it's more about they know what their qualities are up front, but they don't rush into try and kill an opposition. They want to make sure that they're compact in defense. And look, they've once again invested heavily, man. I mean, not only they've got William Saliba and Magalhaes, they've also got Piero Hincapié. They've got Mosquera, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He looks like a beast in defense. I saw this game against Athletic Bilbao, Athletic Club, and Mosquera was rock solid, man. And their entire defense, Calafiori, Timber, and then their midfield as well, Declan Rice, Zubamendi. It's a strong backline. And I think this is the core of Mikel Arteta's football right now. It all starts from a very strong foundation, very strong base, which almost seems, you can't penetrate it. Do you know what I mean? Like it almost seems like it's very difficult to break through. And this is exactly what has happened to Athletic Bilbao, ladies and gentlemen. They tried their best in this match. There were some odd chances here and there. They made better, decisions. But this is what you're going to get with Athletic Club. You're not always going to get the best decisions because they're not the best players in the world, right? And then eventually enough, Arsenal, they make the change. They took off Gyökeres, which I thought was very interesting at a time where you're looking for a goal. You're taking your Gyökeres, but it all worked out nice. Martinelli came on, Trossard came on, and Martinelli, I think, was up against some tired defense. Lovely ball from midfield. Martinelli powered through with his pace and his physicality as well and slotted in a 1v1 opportunity. Trossard as well, similarly Martinelli again. Martinelli was really the standout. And this is, I guess, Arsenal seem to have the right type of competition. Now that, they've got Eze over there and Eze started this game, Martinelli feels like, he's got to lift his game and he's trying to lift his game. And the right type of competition is breeding the right type of mentality. Now, how far Arsenal goes down the track, I don't know, but they do look quite formidable, man. They really do. Madueke, once again today, we saw the same Madueke that we've been seeing at Chelsea Football Club. So this is what, massive news to the Arsenal fans. How you keep hyping Madueke? We've seen it. Yes, one game against Nottingham Forest, he looked like he was on fire. He was coming up against a fullback who's not even a regular fullback. He's a centre back, and he made him look like a fool. Today, he came up against a half-decent fullback and he found himself in trouble. Yes, he's able to dribble, but the final third decision-making was poor from Madueke all throughout the game. But look, Arsenal, they do look formidable, man. They really do. I want to just quickly bring up the scores and just some match stats. Well, not really so much match stats, but just want to showcase a few things here. Arsenal beating Athletic Club 2-0. Martinelli, 72nd minute. Leandro Trossard, 87th minute, which was a little bit of a dink finish. Well, not really a dink finish, but, Martinelli went to the byline, cut it back, and then Trossard took a shot. 11 shots each. Shots on target, 6-2. 38% possession for Athletic Club, 62% for Arsenal. 302 passes, 490 passes. And look, it wasn't the most exciting game, but Arsenal, they know how to lock up the games, man, and they know that they've got talent up front to get that one goal or get that second goal. They're not about the old Arsenal anymore under Arsene Wenger, where tiki-taka football, tippy-tappy football, walk the ball into the goal, and they're not satisfied with one goal. They get the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and sometimes they lose like that because they're so open. This Arsenal is now different. So this was their starting lineup: Eze, Gyökeres, Madueke, Declan Rice, Zubimendi, Marino, Calafiori, Gabriel Mosquera, and Timber and David Ryan goalkeeping. It's a very formidable team, man. When you watch Arsenal, as I said, they don't look very exciting. They look actually quite boring, but they look indestructible. Like, it doesn't look like you can actually penetrate them. They're so good when it comes to working as a team. Timber, Mosquera, Gabriel Magalhaes, Calafiori, who's excellent on the ball, and it looks like he's starting to really pick up this season, early days. But then they also followed up with Declan Rice, Zubimendi, and Marino. All of these players. One thing I noticed about Arsenal against Athletic Club, Arsenal were first to every second ball. They were winning every duel, winning every second ball. And I think this is the huge factor for Mikel Arteta, that, look, do the basics, win the duels, win the second balls. You're going to eventually end up winning the match because the talent is there to score at least one goal. And then they've got the set pieces to take care of as well. And their bench is strong, man. Max Dowman, Lewis Kelly, then they've gone Wanyeri, Saliba, they've got our guy, Arifa Balaga. William Saliba was in the bench. Okay, I thought he's injured. They've got Trossard, Nordgaard, Martinelli, Piero, Hencapi. So a very, very strong team, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely no doubt about that. Let's have a quick look at the other fixtures. Just quickly, let me just bring this up. Here we go. All right, let's just bring this up. Okay. PSV lost to Union Saint Gilloy. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. 3-1, which is PSV at home. Incredible. I think that's the Belgium team, Union Saint Gilloy, winning 3-1. Arsenal obviously winning 2-0. Apparently, big match between Juventus versus Dortmund. I definitely need to catch the highlights on that. Kenan Yildiz had a ball apparently in that game, so I do need to see that. Karabakh beating Benfica 3-2 after being 2-0 down. Huge comeback. That's the other match that I watched, Tottenham versus Villarreal. I have to be honest, man, that was such a boring game. Look, I was really wanting to watch Xavi Simons. Xavi Simons looks like a nice player, obviously, but I'm still blown away by what I saw with Fermin Lopez the other day. And overall, this was such a boring affair. Villarreal literally had nothing for Tottenham. And Tottenham got to get away with a 1-0 win, which was courtesy of an own goal from the goalkeeper, a horror mistake from the goalkeeper of Villarreal. And Real Madrid winning 2-1 against Marseille. I thought Marseille might actually do something. And they were leading 1-0, but Real Madrid coming back stylistically against Marseille. I think there were two penalties. I'm pretty sure there were two penalties for Kylian Mbappe. There you go. And then a red card for Dani Carvajal, who came on very early with Trent Alexander-Arnold being injured. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts. That is all for today in terms of the Champions League fixtures. I really wanted to talk more about Arsenal. Arsenal, for me, do look very, very formidable, man. And they seem to have depth across all positions across the field. So, one to watch out for. How long can they continue this way? Is there going to be a patch where they feel a little bit iffy? We shall see. Smash up the like button if you're here for the first time. Subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Until next time, take care. See ya. Bye.